So I do always enjoy the part of the podcast where it's finding out about people's like good, bad, weird gigs they've done. I know I was reading like about one of your good ones, so we'll definitely come on to that. What's if you can think of like anything like through your comedy career, any like places you've done like weird places you've done comedy, and then a show that's went like fucking, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened.
I can't. I mean, nothing like weird places to do comedy. Although I will have done weird places to do comedy, but you know, that it's like it's not rocket science, but it's also a very, very fine art.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like
nail the basics.
It's like, how well do you want it to go? But then sometimes you go in and you're just like, one example was like, I was doing a gig, a charity gig.
That's normally all of the bad circumstances.
A charity gig in a community centre in Denniston.
Okay.
It was organised by, I can't remember who exactly organised it. It was Graham Stewart, legend.
All right.
Yeah, a lovely guy. And it was in a community centre, but I think they mainly did like childcare or something. And they were like, the greens room's through here. And there was like a massive Sully from Monsters Inc. and stuff like that, and like cuddly toys and stuff like that. And a big, like, I say, you know, human size, but like toddler size, like Connect 4 and stuff like
brilliant.
that. And then I'm like, this is going to be awful. And it was like, and there was like tables, like big tables that are bigger than this, you know, sort of like wallpaper and kind of size tables,
really, really long ones,
where there's, you know, like 3 or like a family around each one, and they've all brought their own drinks, so they're pouring like home measures and stuff like that. So it's like, you're just like, just nothing is really controlled here. Nothing is
it's
controlled.
Just kind of like, that's it. They'll get on stage, and everything will work.
Stage, yeah. But it actually went great.
Yeah.
It actually went surprisingly great. I recognised one of the guys in the audience, and he worked in the Lidl that I used to go to all the time, and sometimes he would let me off with stealing an onion. Because sometimes because at that, you can only buy like them in bags, and sometimes you just need one.
Yeah.
You buy 3, and then the other 2 go to waste. And then I was like, blah, blah, blah. Connected with one. If I didn't have that, I don't know what would have happened.
It's the onion guy.
Yeah. I was like, you're the onion. I was like, you let me steal onion.
Keep it down, mate. My boss is sitting right next to me.
But that was like, that is, you know, and so, but what I mean to say is like, sometimes you're like, that went great.
Yeah.
It should not have gone even well at all. And you're just like, it is such like a alchemy that you just sometimes don't know.
Sometimes they just blindside you. Sometimes you're like, this will be good, and then it's awful.
Yeah, but then it's like, it really is a case of the audience plays such a huge part that they need to really be up for it as well, and bring a positive attitude.
Yeah,
I don't mean just being like up for it, like they're on and they've put a shirt on and they're in the room.
Yes,
that's still not.
Yeah,
enough.
I've done like rooms, the busy rooms, but everyone before the gig is just sitting in silence with the arm closed, and you're just thinking, okay, well, this is going to be shit. And I honestly think you can tell before you even get to the stage, like you've kind of got a good gauge if it's going to be good or if it could just go like shit.
Yeah,
I think you've kind of done it enough. You kind of go, right, that's not good. There's not a mic. There's no stage light. There's no stage.
Yeah,
no stage is always the killer.
Yeah,
no stage. I'll just stand in front of this TV. You'll be fine.
But like, but then there's others that have just gone badly. I think the worst I've ever felt on stage before, once I was booed by a guy, but that's not like a biggie. I'm just kind of like, I've been booed before.
Yeah, brilliant.
Big tick off that off the list. But one time I was doing my first ever show at the Fringe, and it was not a good show. Surprisingly enough, it was not a good show.
What year was this?
It was in 2017.
Right, okay.
And it was like, and I'd managed to get like sort of enough people in the room, and there was like a mother and daughter and maybe like a daughter and friend. It's also you know when you're trying to figure out the relationship when something's not gone wrong, when something's gone well, you're not being like trying to figure out the relationships of people.
How do you know each other?
You're like, oh, where's this camaraderie come from? You're just like, so it was like a mother, a daughter, and maybe like a daughter's pal or something, or maybe sisters. I don't know. 2 generations, definitely there. And the mum, like, I think fell asleep or something, right? And that's no big deal.
Happens.
That's no big deal.
Happened to me.
And the daughter, I don't know if she wasn't like laughing at the mum falling asleep. Maybe she could have been laughing at the mum falling asleep, but it didn't seem like she was.
Right.
And then they started laughing, and I was like, great, I've got them. And then they weren't laughing at like the beats of like punchlines or something. They were laughing, and then I was like, what is going on here? And then I was like, I think that they are laughing at me thinking that I can do comedy.
Oh, fucking hell.
That's what I thought.
Jesus Christ, John.
That's what got in my head.
Oh, God. And then
Have you ever had that?
I've thought they fucking hate me before. Yeah, I've had that. But I've never had that. That felt like a real emotional, like,
Yeah.
they think I can't do this.
They think it's funny that I am trying to do this.
Holy shit, man.
But I think that's very me in my head.
Oh, right,
it could have
okay.
been. It could have been. We're experienced to try and attune ourselves to laughter and where that's coming from. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is at me, not with me. Basically, that's it. That's it.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
I'll take people going like, nah, angry, just like hating it. I'd take that. I've had that. I've had that a lot.
Yeah.
And they look at you and they're like, no, not for me. And there's no change in their mind. You're
That's
fucked.
fine. Yeah.
But that, oh Jesus Christ! And so did they look like they were like laughing with the mum at any point? Did the mum wake up?
She was asleep. She definitely woke up. She's not still there. I don't think. But yeah, that's like one of the things where it stuck with me, obviously. But there's nothing you can really do about that. Another time was just when at the Fringe, when I've been doing a show and I'm in the middle of my show, or maybe in the first like 15 minutes or something, and people who've come in who don't have a clue what it is or have not looked into it or whatever, and then they'll be like watching you like this, and they're clearly not really into it, and then they will stop watching you and watching the show for a minute to like refer to your flyer, just to like look at it and be like, so what does he think this is? You know what I mean? What is he advertising himself as? And I'm going to read the blurb and read
like that is not what I'm getting.
I'm going to read the glossy version of this. Because this guy like sweating in this tiny room is not indicative of what I'm being promised here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's also kind of like, why would you tune out of the thing that I'm trying to show you to refer to a thing that is just trying to get me to the thing that I want to show you?
Do you think that's giving you a thicker skin though? These things happen, and do you think that makes it so that if that happens again, you could be like, okay, I can do a little bit better.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I do have quite a thin skin.
Really?
Think.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Although, I am also, I think, scared about speaking things into existence. Like I don't get heckled. I hardly ever get heckled.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Not yet.
yeah, but I think I don't know why that is. I don't think it riles.
I don't
what
really.
I do riles
I don't. Yeah, the
people
same.
up.
I don't really get it. I mean, I was saying earlier. There's a guy on Thursday night. I had a bit in my set about drugs going up people's arses, and this guy later on did a callback to that and just went, you should shove something up your arse. And I was like, what? It wasn't like any like mean or anything like that. He just thought he was being funny.
Right.
To interrupt the show. He's like, you should shove something up your ass. And I was just like, that's fucking... I was like, don't do that again. That was weird.
Yeah. Did you make the connection at the time that's what he was doing?
Weirdly, I did. But it took me like a few seconds to like, what did you just say? Mm-hmm. And I think he was then trying to tell his mate again to be like, wasn't this funny? And I was just like, don't do that, you fucking nut job.
Yeah.
So I don't really get it a lot either.
Yeah, I think it's maybe depends on the sort of act that you are. I think if you're throwing a lot of questions out, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I think mine's is quite, my stuff's quite maybe a bit on the denser side. I just don't stop talking.
That is my go-to thing. Is that if I hear people starting to talk, I'll talk louder and just won't give them a break to then just jump in. Because you know what happens? You give them a little gap and they'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah,
Like, you bastards.
but I'm trying to think of like, I don't know, worst ever. I mean, there's just like doing, you know, an hour and you're like, you know, you're just like, what? Yeah, you're lost for words.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the?
I find I'm okay with that. In a way, it'll ruin the rest of my night. The rest of my night will be ruined, but it makes it worse. I've done ones where people I've known have been in those shows, and so then their opinion of my comedy ability is like, oh, he's shit.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of ones I'm like,
Soros.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I saw him. And there's literally people I went to school with who came 2 years in a row, and then they came to a really shit one, and they haven't been back. And I'm like, okay, well, that's them obviously just going, well.
And he started a podcast.
Yeah, what a toxic man.
He's deluded.
Yeah.
He's deluded.
So they're the ones that get to me, but fuck, yeah, it ruins my night.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to recover from them?
I don't know. Sometimes. I mean, the whole like Sarah Millican rule is really good, where she's like, she says like, you can feel bad about it up until like lunchtime the next day. Like,
Right.
I'll give yourself that time, which is good, but unless you're like, like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes
Go for it, John.
I don't know.
Go for it, John.
I think I've only ever thought about quitting doing comedy after like a set as opposed to an hour.
Okay. Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because you're like, in an hour, you're like, what do they like? I don't know what there was in there that they didn't like, because they didn't like any of it. or also, some people like my stand-up.
Yeah, I will say John's
some people like
fucking
my
hilarious.
stand-up.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a second.
But yeah, you're just like, I don't know what they didn't like in that.
Yeah.
So you're just like, and you're just like kind of, you almost don't have the emotional like energy left to sort of be like, oh God, should I give it pack it all in? You know, you're just like, thank fuck that's over, and you're just like, that's it. Whereas like after like a bad set, sometimes I've been like, fuck's sake, and then so and so came on and smashed it, so it wasn't.
That's annoying. That's the most annoying thing.
And then I was the worst. I was the worst on the night. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. You know. And then like when you go over to other comedians after, and you're like, I've got this stinking energy about me after my bad set, and you know, people are like, it's that when I'm like, I'm not good at this. So
it's tough to it is tough to recover from that. Of dying on your ass in a good room is tough to get over. That's one of the hardest things to get over in comedy.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bad night, but you have to, it's so hard to remind yourself of, this was just a bad night.
Yeah.
This is just a bad night. This is just a bad night. But fuck me at the time. It is so destroying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's not, we're focused on the weird, the bad, but the good. Let's come to the good. Because you recorded a YouTube special, John Aggasild.
Yes.
You have recorded a YouTube special. I watched it. It's fucking hilarious, man.
Well, thank you very much.
So funny.
Thanks a lot.
And I've read that you said that was one of your favourite gigs you've ever done. You were very proud of that.
Yeah. I think I did well. Like, I'm just kind of like, that was the most, it's maybe like the most important. And it's definitely one of the best I've ever had, because it was just like, I'm doing what I want to do. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It felt very much like this is my thing.
Yeah.
This is how I want it. It's set exactly how I want, in a venue I want, with people I want. Yeah. It felt like very much of like, this is fucking this is mine.
I mean, that's a bit, the thing is, like, I think you could argue that it's a bit like, oh, that sounds easy or whatever, because it's like a home game. You know, you've set up everything for it. But yeah, it was just.
But you want that. That's why people, when they plan their specials and everything like that, they do it to a venue they love,
Yeah.
and they do it to people who love their comedy.
Yeah.
So it's that you do. That's what you want from your special. You don't want to make it hard circumstances.
Yeah.
Because if you did that, then you're just wasting your time and money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you did it in like a pub in Dumfries or something like that to record your special with 3 people there, I'd be like, well, this is pointless.
Yeah.
But it looked
Are you thinking of a particular pub in Dumfries?
not at all.
Have you done that gig with it? Is it in Dumfries? It's got a stripper pole in the middle of it. It's like a rock club.
Oh my god, I've not done that one.
I've done it. I've only done.
I've done there's the Dunfermline one. That's the Dunfermline one you made me
That's the
think
one
of.
I'm thinking of. The rock club in
Oh,
Dunfermline that's got a stripper
shit.
pole in the middle.
Yeah, I've done that one. It was rough.
Yeah.
And I had my aunt and uncle there
Oh no!
who were sitting right here, who had never seen me do comedy before. And I had a rough set.
They're watching you like this, like you're on the stage there.
Yeah, there's a picture of my auntie and uncle. They included the guy who was taking the pictures of the night. Didn't realize he'd got them in the picture, but they're just kind of looking up at me just like that, and I was just like, and it was it was a struggle. It was a struggle, and also the material was like not something I want to be doing in front of my family. So then for them, that's the first time they've
So
seen.
Madeleine McCann's been in the news recently.
Honestly, it was that gig was so bad, and I then had to go up to them at the end of the night and be like, "Thanks for coming.
See you at Christmas.
Thanks for coming." Yeah, it was so the picture. I then put that in like I've got it on my phone. And I just look at it sometimes and I go, "They are hating that."
Or yeah, but then the thing is, you can also look at that sort of shit and be like, I've come far from this. I've come far from this. But yeah, like that was so that when the night recorded my special, it was just like so important to me, and it was just the most fun of one of the most fun times I've ever had.
Yeah.
doing stand up, and did it twice in one night, which is weird but really fun.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, it was literally. I mean, you know yourself. There's so much. This is such inside baseball. Of
No, I mean, I love it,
and stuff like that, and that's kind of what this is. But when you're just like money and things like that you're spending on stuff, you know, I'm like, I've got the room for the night. Like, why would I only do one show if I'm recording it? Like, I'll do it twice. And then I was like, this seems mad to be like, oh, I'm doing it twice in one night, but managed to sell out both of them, and it was really really fun, and just managed to try and just do some kind of like different things in each, but try and keep it similar in enough as well.
Because it's very like you build it as like a romantic comedy special.
Yeah.
Which I'd never heard of anyone doing before.
Yeah. I'm the first person to do it.
First one,
yes,
John.
Yes. Yeah. Because I was just like, that's how I was kind of selling like the show itself, of being like, because I was like thought about writing the show for ages, and then I started to like, I was like trying to write it, and I was just like, sometimes I was just trying to think of like what's a way that I can write this, and then I was like, oh well, I guess it's like a romantic a romantic comedy, especially like the way we met, and then there's like, it's all got all the tropes of like a rom-com, so I'll just advertise it as that, and I'll write it like that, and I'll write it to meet all of those beats, because it has them, and those are easy to follow, you know, you write to them and then write. Yeah, it's like you're writing like up and down from all these.
Like, I had it all.
It's helpful to have those sort of things. Like, I'm trying to write to a sort of like different but similar but different format at the moment. So I was like, it's kind of like, you remember like when Shaun of the Dead came out, it was like a rom-com.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
brilliant.
So smart.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Never been done before.
Yeah. I was like, it was like, it's a romantic comedy with zombies. Like, that was the whole thing. And I was like, oh, so this is a romantic comedy, a stand-up comedy. So it's a romantic stand-up comedy show. Yeah. And then I was like, it's a romantic stand-up comedy special. So that's how
I mean, it looks like there was like the audience seemed like killer for like both things. Was the one you picked over the other one? Was the one?
It's kind of quite eeksy peeksy.
Is it?
Yeah, it is quite. I think.
Some people do it like some of like the big comedians in America do like five.
Yeah.
Some people
like, was it Juicy Adam Rose one?
Yeah,
which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so good. I was kind of like, he's obviously like a super successful,
Yeah.
phenomenal comedian, like inarguably aside it tastes like great comedian. But I was like, I don't know if he's my vibe. I don't know if he's to my taste. I don't know if he's my cup of tea, right? We kind of like everything. And then I watched that and I was like, wow, this guy's very good.
I love seeing when people take that, essentially what you did as well. You take a real life thing and then you go and then you've got to try and pick apart every last little bit of how this happened, take it from all angles, like dissect it, bring it back together, write it together, and then give it a good ending. It's fucking hard.
It's hard. But I think I listened to him and he talked about, like, I think he recorded that 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I think he did.
Or something. And there was one where he was like, yeah, none of that's useful. Oh, because he put out a blooper from it. He put out like an outtake where he had to ask lads to move to the back of the rotunda.
Oh, really?
Something.
Did he?
And then he was like, yeah, I thought this. He was like talking about having like bets or something with like some of his producer pals and being like, which show is going to be like the worst or something. But yeah, it was just like the first show, they were like right there, like right up my arse. You know if you're driving,
that's exactly where you want them. That's exactly where you want the audience. Some people want them in the palm of the hand. You're like, get them up the arse.
They were right with me, right there. And then the second one, just not quite as much, but still great. And that just that was still great.
Yeah.
And then there was just like moments that worked.
What was the thing? So you mentioned in something, you said that something happened like 15 minutes in.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't part of it. So I went back to watch it and I couldn't work out what it was.
I'm talking about how my girlfriend and I met, and it being like it's like a crazy coincidence. It's like a crazy coincidence, and I had never written a punchline for that,
right?
Because I was just kind of like, get a load of that. Like,
yeah.
Can you? I don't know if you've ever. I mean, I've sometimes struggled to write punchlines for a lot of stuff.
Hell yeah, John.
But that I was just like, isn't that mad? Like hoping that it would just like get an applause break on the night. You know what I mean? You're like, come on, fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, so blah 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 blah, and then this woman in the audience shouted out, "No!"
Oh, was that
like
right?
Like,
okay.
No way. And I was like, yes way. Right. And I'm like, I couldn't have asked for.
Right, I think I watched it round about
more.
the wrong time then, because that makes sense that would happen.
Yeah, and I was just like, I couldn't have asked for anything.
Because it's an insane story, and when comedians tell stories, every part of me wants to go up to them at the end and go, "Is that true?" But that felt like it was all true.
Yeah,
it felt like every last little bit of it.
Because there's like enough. There's a lot of detail to it, and like, I think just telling all of the detail, even though it's hard though, because if you're writing that, you're like, this might be fucking confusing as fuck, and I'm jumping about all over the shop and stuff like that. But yeah. So it was her going like, "No way," and I was like, "Thank fuck, that's like a."
You're
and
like,
it got a reaction from.
Thank you for coming.
Audience. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and it was just this like nice, natural, organic thing that felt like it was. Like it did happen on the night, but when you watch it, you feel more like you're in the. You feel a bit more like you're in the room.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
What
made you think I'm gonna film this? What was the point? Because you always kind of think, I'm gonna love to do more stuff and all that. But what was the point where you just went, I'm 100% filming this?
100% filming it because I was just like, this is the best thing I've ever done.
Right.
Hands down. I was. I'd applied to do the Fringe through a certain festival organizer. I'd applied to do the Fringe and it hadn't like come about. And then I did manage to apply to. I applied with a different Fringe organizer, and they were much more responsive and stuff like that. And however, my Fringe show was at the City Cafe, which is a great venue. But it was at 10:40 a.m.
I remember,
which was. I mean, me and you never saw. I think I saw you once.
Yeah, I think we bumped into each other after Stu's show. I went to see, and then you were outside flying, and I was like,
no, you're like, good morning.
Yeah, that was it, man.
Yeah, and that was kind of it. So I was like, this is gonna be I have no idea what this is gonna be like.
Yeah,
And
Was it? So
it
they
would
came
be-
to you and they went, it's 10:45 or nothing.
yes,
Right, yeah.
I mean, there was latterly, like I tried to like get my time changed and stuff like that, and I was like, fair enough. It's like this late in the game. It's like
You gotta
June or
take it.
something.
Yeah,
and I was
right,
like,
right.
I'd rather do this for a month so people see this than not do it. So I was like, that is going to be, fuck knows what that's going to be like. But it is not. It is certainly not going to be the month that meets that does the show service.
Okay,
Like it's not gonna do justice to the show that I've got in terms of numbers or whatever. But so I was like, so don't put all your eggs in one basket of the Fringe. So I was like, I'll record it, and I will record it. And it's just basically like, trying to think about these little nitty gritty details where I was like, if I do the Fringe, pals of mine who are nice will maybe come through for 10:40 in the morning. I don't know about that. Some people did, which is
Fucking hell, by the way. They're friends for
kind,
life.
Very kind. But some people might, in dribs and drabs across a month, you can get a lot of people over like 26 shows coming to support you, which is nice. If all of those people come to see me, then who the fuck's going to come and watch me try and record it? So I was like, I'll do it before the Fringe, which is
Was this what you did it before the Fringe?
Yeah, it was the weekend before the Fringe, so nobody's seen the show. It's also so that those people who might come and see me during August are like, I don't have to come see him at 10:40 a.m. and I've done him a solid. I've come and seen the show.
Put it on the doorstep in Glasgow. Perfect.
Yeah, and also I was 2 previews down, so I needed to basically do another couple of previews before the Fringe.
Right, okay.
So they're effectively previews, but I was just like,
filmed your previews and
yeah,
put it on
basically
YouTube.
filmed them. But I was just like, it was like 50 minutes of it was worked out. It was just the ending that I needed to
The end is fucking
work
brilliant.
out. Thank you.
It's
Thanks very much.
I kind of won't spoil it, but kind of when you got the paper to read the
Right.
thing, I was at part of me went, I hope he's going to do it like.
Uh-huh.
And you did, and I was like, that's so
That's
funny.
why I read it, because you couldn't do that double speed if you. Yeah, that's a spoiler, but you couldn't do that.
You took a sip of
if
water
you-
as well. And I was like, oh, someone big's coming here. He's just went for the water sip.
Yeah, but I mean, haters will say that it's read out off paper, but it is read out off paper. But you couldn't I don't know how your brain works, but I couldn't have done that if I tried to memorize it. I
Oh,
don't
God, no.
think. But so I was just like, and then no matter what the experience of the Fringe is, which will be tough, it'll be. Well, at least it's on camera. At least we've got the footage.
In a hot venue.
And that is how it will live forever. It's not going to live forever within my memories of this month.
That's a wise move to do it before the Fringe. That's because a lot of people do it. Right, it's polished. The Fringe is done. Now we'll record it. You went, no, we're not doing that. That's a wise move, man.
But with it sounds dumb. But once I've explained it, now that I've explained it, I think I'm glad that it makes sense. But it was just within the confines of how many people know me, how many people will want to come and see my comedy. So that's why I did it. But it was so fun. And it's just like, well, there, and now it's there forever for people to see and come to in their own time. And I'm really
Go and watch it on
really
YouTube.
pleased with it. Yes, please. It's called Welcome Back. And you can copy and paste my name from wherever you're looking.
Yeah. So the bit you can again, this isn't a spoiler bit, but the kind of first introduction, the comedy club.
Yes.
Does John Keynes know this story now?
Yeah.
No way.
He does. Yeah, thankfully. Yeah, because I was lucky enough to support him.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And I was like, I owe you a lot of thanks, and I just told him that, and he was like, "No way,
Yes.
no way."
So
was
he
like,
does a kind
"Holy
of bit
shit."
of a kind of like
Set it up,
talks to doing a bit of crowd work, talks to 2 separate people, and then somehow there's loads of coincidences that happen. But that first bit is
how
via
we
John
met.
Keynes. That's insane.
And then the night after I supported him, me and my girlfriend went to see him in the room that we met in. Yeah, which was
Holy
cool,
fuck.
which was nice. Yeah.
Shit.
I was like, we haven't been here since the night we met. I don't know if you ever do this with your partner or something like that, where you try and do something sweet and they're like, yeah, is that right? They're like, you think so? And I'm like, she was like, no, I've definitely been here. I was like, no, you haven't.
Okay,
no,
you're
you
like,
haven't.
cool.
All right, okay, cool.
Cool. Moving on.
Yeah. So that's
insane.
So that was a nice full circle.
Yeah.
A nice full circle.
If that was
moment.
me as a comedian, if I had kind of like matchmaked in some shape or form, that would be the thing. I go, I can't believe I've done that.
Yeah.
With my comedy career, the power of comedy.
Yeah.
You can just match people up in the audience.
I mean, hey, it could happen. You're a host.
Yeah. I've always thought that, but I thought I've been tempted to do it. Who was it was on? Kate Hamill was on, and she said
You're more likely to solve a murder or something.
yeah, that's like, well, weirdly, the other night I was hosting and two people in the audience. The guy was a teacher and they'd met when the girl was a student.
No.
Yeah, so I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like digging into this. We're like having a laugh with this situation. I'm like, fuck. I was like, I can't keep going. I was like, bring the first act on. Bring the first act on. This half hour comes out. I was like,
Please welcome to the stage, Police Sergeant. Blah, blah.
Well, I said that at one point. I was started asking him questions, and he stopped talking, and I went, "Oh, look who's waiting for his lawyer to show up until he says something else." Wow, and he was just like, "No, it's not like that. It's not like that." And I was just like, "Fuck you, man!" And I was just like, "Get out of the gig." But then I had to do.
Was it the age difference really that?
The
to
age
look at them,
difference,
was it like
the age difference didn't look wild, but he still said that, and he was all proud of himself. And I went, fucking that's abusive power. I come out, I've got to do 5 minutes in between the next act, turn to this couple here, and they kind of look and they're very smiling. And I went, right, how do you two know each other? They just met the day before that.
Wow.
While she was out walking her dog in the park, he came up to her and started like creeping on her in the park. And then clearly it had like a big like romantic night. And we're now just sitting in the front row of a comedy show. And I was like, what is going on here? I went, do you even know each other's second names? And they went, no. And I was like, that's so good. This is how early this is. So I was just like, in one show, I was just like pecking this thing off. It was, that's my favorite thing to do in
Do you love that? You just love it.
Oh,
you just love it.
I love it. I love people when like,
You're
first
a chaos
dates.
agent.
Yeah, and I think it's from, I watched a lot of Gus Limburn hosting in the early days. Essentially, like I feel like my style has tried to copy just the main MCs in Edinburgh. That's until I've kind of learned all the basics. I'm kind of just feel like I'm almost like, oh, I'm fucking copying them. And the chaos bit I do love. And it's kind of hard to just kind of let go because you're just like, when the audience all goes, shit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we need to find out more.
Yeah.
I do love the chaos. Do you love the chaos?
No, thank you.
No.
No, thank you.
No.
I'd like them to be maybe even sedated a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I would like to do something to get better in a way where I could handle a bit more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if anything happens like that is out of the ordinary, then I will be like, like I'll maybe like panic a little bit, and then that people can see that and smell that, and then they become a bit like, I'm not like,
Well, that's like I was until I
would be like,
hosting,
okay, right.
until I started
people
hosting.
would
I was
like,
exactly like that. Nothing.
know what I mean?
I had my set. Nothing could derail the set. If someone said something, I go fucking cool, yeah, cool, moving on. That was weird, and I just kept doing it. But until like after I started hosting, I just started kind of like relaxed, and I was just like, right, this is a little better. I can feel like I'm a bit more myself. But still, it's just I do love finding the wee chaos moments because the audience seem to just kind of love it.
Yeah,
and
they
trying to
do.
get everyone hyped up. They're like, shit.
I mean, yeah, I don't think. I mean, I've watched several episodes of this podcast, but for like you run one of the best like gigs going,
Oh, thanks, man.
which is the spandex at the Beehive Inn every
Tuesday, every Tuesday of my life.
and it's so good. It's so good, and all the crowds are always really up for it. I think they're really game, and I think that's maybe like because they're like fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
Like,
I think there's a few things to it that I'm the guy that I welcome them and I'm giving them chat as soon as they turn up to the gig.
Yeah,
I'm doing the
true.
tickets. I'm giving them chat. Then they're almost like relaxed.
A warm welcome, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of just doing that before they've even hit the seats upstairs. I'm just kind of trying to give them chat, relax them, tell them it's going to be a good night and everything like that. So I think that
Does
kind
that
of
help as opposed to you being like, oh God, is there any people coming up the stairs? Blah, blah, blah. Because then you have control and influence over that, and you're not just like pacing, worrying.
Yeah, it's definitely the best thing I've done, and it's just, I hate being timed on stage. It is my fucking biggest thing I hate about comedy. Is even just like on a weekend they go like 10, get off stage at 10. I'm like, if people are doing well, just give them a bit longer. And I just try and just do that. And
You really do.
I've never timed.
It's very generous.
I think I've timed like
it stands out. The gig stands out for several reasons, but that being one of them.
Because it's just like if someone has got a big gig coming up and they need to do 50 minutes or they need to do 20 minutes.
It's also a new material night as well.
Exactly.
So you don't know how long the bit is.
Yeah.
You don't know where something might go.
I don't really think
from
it's
that. So it's hard to, you're kind of like, because you might be like, well, that's a 2 minute.
I think it stifles it.
Yeah.
Being like 10 and off.
Yeah.
Everyone's trusted enough. No one does the gig that isn't trusted. Everyone's a really good comedian.
Yeah.
So everyone kind of can do like, I know, no one's going to fucking piss about and do like 25.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's like 15 maybe. Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Get off.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to do like how I would run a comedy club.
Yeah.
Which would probably be absolute chaos.
Well, it's great. It's got
if it was 7 nights a week, the chaos, it would be absolutely too much chaos for a comedy club.
It's so good. And was it just that you wanted to do like a new material gig?
Yeah, it was just wasn't enough gigs.
Yeah.
And it was after the Fringe, and I'd start, right, let's do it.
Get to work, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
and everybody loves a new material gig.
Man, it's so weird. Like, there's like...
You're definitely going to get somebody fucking nuts, like amazing big at it.
Danny Boy's done it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Danny Boy's done it. Stage's done
it.
Joe Caulfield's done it. It's so bizarre to have those people text me being like, hey, can I come and do your gig? And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like almost like when you're like texting someone a really important text and you're rereading it like 10 times, you're like, is this I'm trying to be funny but not try to be too funny and everything like that. I'm like, just send the fucking text.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been quite good.
Yeah.
You
must have lots of opinions about new material then. About like the thing of it about.
In what way, sorry?
I don't really know what I mean. But I don't really know what I mean. But it's just like,
I mean, I've got the opinion of try and be unique, and try and not do the well tread stuff that you'll see like at a Red Raw.
When you're talking about bombing earlier, basically, is that like I feel like the thing I like about that, I love so much about that gig is that it's a great room. Sound host and it's like nice crowd, but I feel like there's some like gigs that you click with and sometimes it takes a while to like gel with or whatever, and I feel like I clicked with that gig quite quickly.
Yeah, you did, man.
And I was like, okay, I feel comfortable to try and fail here.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that even if someone did like 10 minutes of and bombed new material, they're good enough that I'll go, I don't fucking care.
Right.
There's no part of me that would ever go like, well, fucking Liam Withnell's not coming back.
Yeah.
None of that. It would just be like, oh, that's you tried some new shit. It
nice
didn't work.
try.
Yeah, that's like anyone that does the gig is a brilliant comedian. So there's no part of me that would ever go like, no, thank you. So that's just how it is.
But I think it's like, apart from like running a gig, but like running a new material gig, it's kind of like, oh, thank you for your service. Like, you know, it's a bit of that. But like, yeah, being comfortable with like the failure of it. I mean, I think it's just like that feeling is the same. Like what we were kind of talking about earlier is the feeling is the same. It's just, I guess, a different intensity of like shame or like whatever when it doesn't go well or like just a disappointment. But it's just, I need to try and get more comfortable of doing of that feeling and being like, just because it's in a different room doesn't mean that it's any different, because the more that you shrug stuff off, the better that you'll get, and other people will see that that's the case. But it's really It's great. It's
Yeah.
such a good gig, and more people should go.
People come.
People should
Come to Spandex.
should go to it.
Listen
Not
to
that
this
it's-
podcast, you get it for free.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
fuck.
it's just like, I think if I was a comedy nerd that didn't do comedy, I would be like loving to go.
Some
to
people
new
come, like,
material.
so some like, local people that come all the time, and I let them in for free. It could be the people by themselves.
Yeah.
And if they come like one
God
week,
bless those people, by the way.
Yeah.
God bless all these, like,
honestly,
loner
so like
comedy-
that's it. I will never. They always go, oh no, not paying. I'll go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Get in for free. Come in, enjoy the show. It's the people that are there for like one night only. They're in Edinburgh. They never come back.
I'm
I'm
not
like,
the idea. I don't know how the value of a great British
yeah,
pint.
they've got no idea what's
Yeah,
going on.
can
I'm
we
like,
come
yeah, £40 to come in, get in. But people that come back every week, I don't charge them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, sit at the back, enjoy the show, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, it's class.
Do you-
It's really good.
There's been something I've been talking about quite recently. It's like people taking risks on stage. Do you think you've kind of? How do you feel you've taken risks in your?
Not enough. Not enough.
Have you ever done a bit that you've kind of
risks-
gone, oh fuck, that's a bit different from what I normally do?
The thing is, like, I think when you're young and you don't have a on stage persona or like an idea of yourself or whoever or whatever, you're trying to do a lot of stuff, and obviously a lot of like young comics say outlandish, outrageous stuff because they confuse shock for laughter.
Yeah.
But even though like fear or like surprise and laughter have the same like instinct or like kind of reaction, they're not the same thing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're just trying to get something out of them. I think they, anyway.
Yeah, no, that's it. Because I feel I don't
you could
think
be
I've
like-
taken risks.
You could be like, so you're like straight out the gate, your third gig, you're like, yeah, I take risks on stage. Yeah, I say that the Queen deserved to die, or stuff like that, and you're like, okay.
I would say you do, because there's
Like
a lot.
you taking a risk on stage would be, talking about something. You talking about DFS,
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that. You know what I mean. So
I would say you do
I think-
take chances, because there's a lot of stuff in the special that you were kind of admitting that I was just like, holy shit, man. That's
Right,
quite like
yeah.
pretty like pretty bold things to admit. There was the one where you said you went to couples therapy by yourself,
Yeah.
which I was just like, no way.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
How did you just like go? How did that come about? How did you think to do that?
Oh, the thing is, like, this is the first time I've kind of like talked about it with somebody. Thanks for asking about, but like, it's kind of like all in the special,
Yeah.
really. Like that's what I kind of tried and put it in, that it's all there. But I was just like looking to go to a therapist and like talk about relationships with a view to talk about relationships. And I was also like, I've gone to therapy for a long time, so I kind of know the landscape of it. And sometimes it's free, sometimes it's like means tested.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of charities are kind enough that you can like negotiate with them because they want you to get therapy. And then this one was like free for a little bit. And I was like, maybe I just need to get, have a few hours of getting shit off my chest or like talk through stuff. And I was talking about sexuality, and I was talking about relationships, and I was like, oh well, this one's like this person talks about like relationships, and they do couples counseling as well. So I was like, cool, I'll go there. And it was like, yeah, like couples coming out of their session, and then me being like, right, all right, just me, how you doing? You all right? Because I'm full of chat because I've travelled there by myself and stuff like that. Be like, how's it going? Yeah. And there's another like chucking the bag on the empty seat, like
Oh my
stuff
God.
like that. But
Did you do it for a while?
yeah, like maybe
Yeah.
like a couple of months or something. Yeah,
And did you have to convince the person to be like, it's just me?
yeah.
Or were they like,
No, they were kind of like, yeah, sure, okay, it's just yourself, yeah. We're like, open the door, like, yeah. But I think like that. I mean, the whole sort of like truth telling thing on stage
Yeah.
is the only thing I've ever really been interested in.
yeah,
Really.
same.
when I find something silly and inconsequential, I love I'm like, oh, this is great. This is really fun to. This is really really fun to do.
Yeah.
But like like yeah, sort of like truth telling or like confessional stand up. I've always been like really really interested in. And I don't. Sometimes I think maybe like sometimes you can see it as taking risks and just like telling the truth or something that other people would be embarrassed to admit or talk about. But I think like risks in comedy is when you do something that you're not usually used to doing. Like I'm trying, like for me that would be being like loud or like I would let what I want to do, because like that show is like quite nostalgic and it's set in a very specific time period. What I want to talk about next is like something a bit more set in the present, and I would like to have a little bit more edge, like because it's not
anti-vax.
It's got no edge.
I love it. I see where you're going, John. Anti-vax.
Yeah. That's just the start. That's my encore if they come up. But yeah, I'd like to have something with a bit more edge and like just a bit, a little bit more just. I don't know, to and fro with the audience. I'm not looking to antagonize anyone, but
taking on a kind of big subject and then trying to pick it apart, or
yes and no. Like I'm wanting to talk about hometowns,
okay,
and places,
right?
And that sounds like not a big thing, but like being critical of places, like truly actually like critical of places, I think.
Not just using Dundee as a punchline.
Not just using Dundee as a punchline, which has suffered long enough. For
it's
real.
a cracking punchline,
but what I would say is that like Aberdeen's escaped being like a punchline for a long time.
It's in my set, John. I need you to know Aberdeen is in my set right now as a punchline.
See, that makes me happy that comedy is developing. You're taking risks.
Yeah, more specifically a place called Dice.
Why?
Because it just rhymes with another word in the set, and I just thought, right, I'll use that. Okay. Is that where you're from?
No, but I've got pals from Dice.
Yeah, there's a bit of a bit where I do Paradise and Dice, and I needed that, and I was just like, perfect.
Yeah, I think talking about that and talking about a place, being like Aberdeen is, because that's where I'm from. Being like, this is not been Dundee's been a punchline of in comedy for a long time, but it's a great city and it's had a lot of money put into it and stuff like that. Whereas Aberdeen's sort of like coasted on this for a long time and
been resting on its laurels.
Yeah, resting on its laurels, and you go there and not really much is happening there. And pointing out like harsh truths about that. That's not me being like, well, how many toilets do we have or whatever, but me being like, this city is seen much better days.
Yeah, and
I'm from there. And that makes me sad. And there's not really a conclusion to that.
Yeah, it's just all sad.
It's just kind of sad, but then also maybe being like Glasgow, like I love it, blah blah blah, but maybe it's a bit too big for its boots. That sort of thing.
Bring it down a peg or two.
Like that's risky to me. So I would like to take some more.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only ask that because I'm like, know myself, I haven't, and I'm just
what do you think that would be to you?
Just try and I've essentially just write the club set and then I just change that into a friend show. Whereas I see people like Stuart, for example, writes a fucking like amazing friend show, like yourself, like Liam, all these big things, and they write them into a big proper show. And I've never done that. I just kind of go, here's 5 disconnected parts of my set, and I'm doing it at the Fringe. I need to do better than that. I need to properly write a show and actually give it a bit of something. A bit of something.
But I think that'll come.
Like what you've done.
That'll come. And it's like, you feel, I think if you're having those thoughts that you think that it'll be like you need to do something to make that happen. But it's all water from the same well.
True, yeah.
So it's in there already.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something is, or maybe it will be an actual like experience. Touch wood. Hope it's great. Hope you win the lottery and somehow you stay funny as a stand-up
Ain't
comedian.
gonna be that. Ain't gonna be that.
But like, it's all right. It's in there. I think just when you're like, oh, like it seems like out of reach, or like it's. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
But
that.
it's in there,
Yeah.
and it'll
One day.
it'll happen. Yeah.
day.
But that's a fantastic challenge to.
Yeah, and if that's
challenge
what
to
it
have.
feels like, it feels like a challenge, and it feels like I need that challenge to be like out of the comfort zone of just like going, right, there's 20 minutes on dogs and whatever, just to be like, right, now let's write something that's got a bit of substance to it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be like. Yeah. But I love the like long form.
You do it very well, man.
Thank you
Do
very,
it
thank
very
you
well. It's an excellent
Thank you
special.
very much. I'm not doing it this.
Yeah, I was going to say
this
you're
year.
not
You know
doing it
what's
this.
really funny, because this is the first time I've been through to the Fringe. No, through Edinburgh. It's not. It's not.
Not
started
yet, not yet. It's coming.
But like, we were talking about Facebook advertising before, because me and Ralph are young, and like people go like, you are doing the Fringe this year, right? And you're like, I've just been posting about it every single fucking week for the past 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Glad that you're still not quite sure if you've seen my post.
Yeah, get on
But
board.
you know what I mean? When people like other comedians are like, sorry, you are doing it. You're not. You are.
Yeah.
You're like, no. I'm not doing the Fringe this year.
Directing.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, I've not got a show. I've not got anything to say yet,
Right.
or it's not ready yet. And like, much like the thing that I was talking about before, I don't want to put it. I don't want to I don't want to buy Facebook advertising for a shit show, for a shit show that. So I'm not doing that this year. So hopefully I'll be filled with FOMO, and I'll be like you're talking about with a challenge. I feel like I want to get
Yeah.
something really fucking.
I think you'll do it, man. I think you'll do it.
Which is what I feel like when I go to do spandex. That I'm like, I've got something in between my teeth, and I'm gonna fucking like see how
Seeing good comedy makes me go and write and make me go, fuck, this is good.
Yeah.
There's some of them I will come out and I'll be like, God damn it, I've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And that then makes me go and write more.
That's such an ingenious reason to run a new material show. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's so good.
When I see it, I'm like, fuck, I
yeah,
can do better.
That's
can
great.
do better.
That's great. I mean, that's a tough. That's what do you call it? Creating a rod for your own back. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That's a tough rap to give yourself. So give yourself a break.
There's a few things before you go, John.
Uh-huh.
You get to
Who's
suggest.
a guest?
You get to suggest a guest or a future episode of this podcast, a comedian that you like, that you think, I would love to see them on a podcast.
You know who I would love to see? Your pal Gail Porter.
Hey,
You could get her.
do you think?
You could get her. Yeah.
Fuck it, right
Why
there we go.
not? Why not? That'd be fascinating.
Yeah, I've
It'd
part
be
of
fascinating
it.
for you to interview a new comedian who has
Yeah, who has had one of the
who
most
has
wild
loads
lives.
of experiences. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
That's
people,
doable.
Two people have said it to me, and I went,
Oh.
no, not on
Oh,
this.
right, okay.
Just like my girlfriend had said, like, no, you should get her on, and
Yeah.
I've kind of gone, I don't know.
Yeah, because I've heard other people make suggestions, so I didn't want to be like Joseph Kony or whatever. You know what I mean?
They were
Like,
mad in the beginning. They were very mad in the beginning. And then the final thing is you get to, if there's any music, any album, film, TV show that you've loved recently, you think more people need to hear about this, say it now. And forever hold your peace.
I don't know. I've been listening to the Style Council loads recently.
I've never heard
Over the past like 4 years, but like recently I've like, because it's like summary. It's Paul Weller's band after he was in the Jam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you'd know.
I'd never even heard of the Style Council, John.
It's like they're depends on. I don't know what
Yeah, I
you
could
like.
get into that.
That is somebody taking a risk.
Yeah.
That is somebody taking a stylistic risk and being like, I'm going to reinvent myself. It's because you like Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
It's Paul Weller's Last Shadow Puppets.
Oh, that's a good way of framing it. I'm in.
That's it. I'd highly recommend that. But yeah, But yeah, that's what I'd say.
Perfect.
But I do have a couple of plugs.
Plug away, John.
before I go, if that's okay. If
Plug
that's
away.
okay. But yeah, please watch my YouTube stand-up special. Welcome back. Please watch it. I am also I'm directing a show at the Fringe this year, so I'm not here to plug my own Fringe show. I'm directing Amelia Baylor's show. I work in customer service, but I'm actually a pop star. I had to read that out of notes because the title was so long.
Previous guest of the podcast, Amelia Baylor.
I should have mentioned her. She's somebody she's challenging herself.
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
year, which is cool. It's cool to see, and yeah. So that is the 3rd to the 12th of August at 7 p.m. on the Blunderbuss, which is talking about mad places to do comedy, but it is weirdly
It's
like a legendary venue.
Yeah, and it'll work for that'll work for Amelia as well.
Exactly. And I would also just shout out Chris Thorburn, who's going to do his show Cinnamon at Just the Tonic at the Mash House every day at 12, I think, and he's just like one of the funniest joke writers.
He's
and
so good. He did spandex on Tuesday, and I was just like, oh my god, he's so
just
funny.
so funny. He's just
so funny. Future guest,
so funny.
we're gonna get a date sorted in the Fringe.
Great.
So.
He's one of my best, most trusted confidants.
He's
and
brilliant
he's
guy.
great. So yeah, go see Amelia and Chris. But thank you so much for having me.
No,
on.
thanks for
go
coming
see
in.
Ralph.
Yeah,
Fuck's
come and see
sake.
me. Yeah,
Go see Ralph.
Come see Ralph O'Mail.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great great picture. Good hair.
Thanks. I'm becoming a little bit more used to it now.
Nice.
I'm still not used to it completely, but we'll get there. John, thank you very much for coming in, man.
So
Been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye bye.